Let's take a look at the chart action for Chainlink. Alright, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at how we broke the uptrend on the Chainlink chart. We're going to take a look at the Chainlink to Bitcoin chart and how that's still moving up. And then we're going to jump over the total crypto market cap and I'll show you what I'm looking at on there. Alright, let's get into this video. Okay, so here's what we're looking at on the Chainlink chart. We have resistance right here. We have resistance right here. We were looking at this downtrend going down like that. And we also had support like this. We were waiting for a breakout to the upside or to the downside. And we got a breakout to the upside. What I was saying is we can target the previous resistance levels. We have resistance right here and resistance right here. I was mainly targeting around this 35 area, but it looks like we are having a little bit of trouble at this zone right here. So what I'm thinking is if we could break out of this zone right here, then we're targeting 35. We have also resistance right here and resistance right here. Let's do another trend line going to the side like this. I think if we could break out of this little pattern that we're forming right here, we could probably target from the top to the bottom, something like this, drag that to the breakout, and we're possibly looking at a target of around 51.40. In general, if we could break out of this zone right here, I'll be targeting this area up here. And what I'm looking at right now, though, I guess one update we can kind of do, because that's pretty much what we were looking at last time, is we have support right here and support right here. Let's do a trend line going to the upside, something like this. And until we break this trend line going to the downside, then we can, I'm thinking that the target of 35 is pretty good, or that's pretty reasonable, should I say. If we jump over the Chainlink to Bitcoin chart, here's what we were looking at in the last video. We had resistance, resistance, we had one trend line, and then we have resistance, resistance, second trend line, and then we had another one. If we zoom in, we had resistance, resistance, resistance. So we broke that trend line going to the upside right here. So let's get rid of this trend line. Right now what I'm looking at is we have this resistance and this resistance's trend line, and we just broke above that as well. In general, if this chart is moving up, that's good for Litecoin, and if this chart is moving down, it's good for Bitcoin. If we could break these trend lines, it's going to be good for Litecoin. The next area I'm looking at is this resistance zone up here. We have this downtrend. We have this 180 moving average on the daily time frame that's been giving us resistance all in this area right here. You can see this 180 moving average is coming in right here. Every time we're coming into that, we're getting resistance. We popped above it for a little bit right here, but we couldn't hold above it and we got rejected. So if we could break above this 180 moving average over here, that's going to be another good sign. And it kind of lines up with this bigger downtrend as well. So if we could break this resistance and this resistance's downtrend going down like that, I think then we're going to be wanting to target these levels up here. So I think one step at a time though, but it does look like we are in an uptrend compared to Bitcoin. So this is good for Chainlink in my opinion. We also have this 9 moving average on the daily time frame. We just broke above that. That's also a good signal. We were below it, or we were actually just getting resistance pretty much. We'd come above it, but we wouldn't really break above it. Right now, it looks like we got a nice good break, and it looks like we're trending up pretty much. So that's good for Chainlink. Like I said, if this chart is moving up, it's good for Chainlink. If this chart is moving down, it's good for Bitcoin. That's why I really like watching this chart, or these charts. Okay, so if we jump over to the total crypto market cap, here's what we've been looking at. We have this resistance and resistance. We have a trend line going sideways like this, and we broke above that right here. So what I was saying is if we could get a bounce on this trend line right here, like we kind of have been, then that's going to be a good signal. We don't really want to see us break below it. What I was also looking at is this trend line going up right here. We actually broke that going to the downside, so it looks like we're kind of going sideways right now. The thing that I do I don't know, breaking that trend line I don't really like, but we are still above the 9 moving average on the daily time frame. We're getting support on that right now. And it also looks like we're getting a bunch of wicks, like we can't stay down pretty much. That's what I'm kind of seeing, but we also have a bunch of wicks to the upside as well. So right now it's kind of interesting. I don't like the way we broke the trend line and we closed a daily candle below that trend line, but I do like the way we are sitting above this 9 moving average. If we break below that 9 moving average, that's when I'm going to start. I mean, we already have a couple times we've ricked below it. So like I said, it's kind of interesting right now. I'm still kind of targeting 3 trillion. I'm also slightly cautious because we broke this trend line going to the downside, or at least we're going sideways right now. I don't know. Let's see what happens. We are still in a higher high though. we had a high right here, a high right here, and then we're getting a higher high right here, as well as higher lows. So the lows are higher as well. This was the previous low, and we got a higher low right here. So that's actually a good signal too. I mean, you could also say we have a trend something like this, I guess. Let's go ahead and delete this one. I think we'll be watching this one a little more closely. Maybe we could even go to the 4-hour time frame. So we're looking at this on the 4-hour time frame on the total crypto market cap, and yeah, maybe this is something to keep your eye on. It looks like we're testing this downtrend right now to the upside. Let's see if we get some momentum and breakout and start testing these previous resistance levels and maybe break them. And then the other thing we could watch is this support zone right here and the support zone right here. If we break that going to the downside, then what I'll be looking at is this previous trend line down here. Let's see if we could get support on that. I'm not sure which way it's going to go. It looks like it's breaking up, but we'll have to wait and see. If it breaks up, then that'll be good for the crypto market. It looks like we've been trending down a little bit for this little chunk of time. Okay, so on Chainlink, to wrap it up, I do like the way we're trending up on this trend line right there, and I'm basically looking at this resistance zone for like a battleground to see whether we either break up or we start just getting resistance and maybe have to come back down and retest this trend line or kind of form that pattern. I also do like the way the Chainlink to Bitcoin chart is moving. It looks like we have some pretty good momentum compared to Bitcoin, so that's actually what's really making me look at some of these charts right now. In my next video, we'll talk about something similar. This is the Matic to Bitcoin chart, and it looks like we're getting a little breakout right here. So make sure to click this video right here, and we're going to go see what's going on with the Matic chart. Alright, if you guys like these videos, hit that thumbs up button.